And you heard all the things about the African Cup of Nations and how also you need to keep up your dial right here on the channel for us to give you the latest when it comes to how well our Black Stars are doing. And of course, the other African teams participating in Egypt 2019. And while you're watching all the tournament, you would have been very much aware that security would always be important while in your home watching TV and other things. Because topically, the subject of the kidnapping of the 2 Canadian girls and their subsequent release, and now they being in Accra, and also the press conference by the Information Minister will give you the relevant information as to what so far has been done by the government of Ghana, our security apparatus, etc. But as a citizen, what do we need to know? How well should we know about security, and what should we be worried about? And then on the other side, for the institutions, what do they need to be doing? So we decided to invite those who have the right expertise, and Superintendent of Police Peter Lanchene Toobu is here with me. He, before his retirement from the Ghana Police Service, was the Executive Secretary to the IGP, the Inspector General of Police, a big man. So we have him here to discuss a very big issue, very topical issue. So good morning to you. Good morning. And well, what will be your initial remarks about what has transpired over the last 3 days, the efforts by the police, the security apparatus, and subsequently culminating in that press conference and the release of the girls also?
Thank you very much. Let me say good morning to your cherished viewers. And I want to salute my former boss, the Inspector General of Police, gentleman par excellence. I also want to say hello to all my police friends. Security is a fluid situation. The world is changing, and for the past 30 years, it has changed so fast. And Ghana is not an exception. There is a lot that is changing in Ghana. There are new trends of crimes, new emerging crimes that, I mean, sometimes baffles our mind, because our curriculum as police officers in the training schools do not reflect what is really happening now. Tell me what's happening on the ground. For which there's variance between the education and the training, and how perhaps that gap needs to be filled. You know what happens in the police? We do a bit of research about what is real, what is current, and we develop our curriculum into fit, right? When I was a recruit in the year 1993, I never thought of kidnapping. I was never taught kidnapping in school. Even when I went to the police academy to be commissioned as a senior police officer, we never had anything like that, because it was not anything real in Ghana. It was not a threat. Today, all of a sudden, we have kidnappings here and there. It tells you that the Ghana Police Service will begin to look at what can we do to nip this in the bud. But as it springs up, the surprise is there. And I don't see why people are thinking that all of a sudden something new comes up and the police should just be so perfect. It will take us time. But gradually we are beginning to see that the security agencies are getting grip on the handle. And for me, that is a good thing to say. You seem to very much, if I just get your initial remarks, seem to be on the side of the positive aspect of what the police and the other relevant security agencies have done, especially on this case and the other relevant cases that are still remaining unresolved. No, I'm always a very optimistic personality, very optimistic with what Ghana police can do, because out there in the international scene, you will realize that Ghana police officers, in fact, security officers from Ghana, when we find ourselves in the international arena, we excel. So if there are some local challenges, I mean, we should all acknowledge as a country and do something about it. The capacity of the Ghanaian police officer, I tell you, is never in doubt. And as I sit down, I'm a very confident personality. I know what I'm about. If you're talking about security, I know what it's all about, right? But sometimes the nuances, the local nuances that frustrate us, and we are not willing to speak out. That is a challenge. What do you mean? If you say local nuances, what do you mean? I'm talking about the fact that integrity is a question. What you know to be true, you don't want to say it, because somebody will shut you down. Or somebody will say, no, we don't speak like that. Well, we have internal protocols. Listen, we understand that we have internal protocols. But when we talk about national security, if your internal protocols are at variance with what the nation can benefit in terms of security, we have to rubbish that. Sometimes I speak my mind, because Ghana is bigger than anybody. And Ghana must remain stable for us to continue sitting and talking like this. I'm sure if we are suffering the level of insecurity, that will make it impossible for me to come to this studio. Nobody will be happy. So when there are little challenges that are coming up, we should be honest enough and speak out.
From your experience, and it's good that you just recently got out, so at least you're up to speed with the latest. From your own experiences, if you look at the changing dynamics of policing on the other hand, and also the changing dynamics of our socio-cultural and economic strata as a country. We have influx of people from the sub-region because we have to obey and implement the protocols of ECOWAS, and even having the throughput of more people coming in. Vis-a-vis what is the standard across the world, where are we lacking? Where are we now? Where are we lacking? And what do we need to do?
We are living in a digital generation. And living in the digital generation means that you cannot apply the yesteryear techniques to police today. And Ghana requires some level of tech infrastructure to empower the police to stay current. What the police know is the fact that procedure is clear, practices are clear, but the reality on the ground must always inform them on what is required. For me, if we are able to resource our police very well, let them have the requisite technology infrastructure that they need to police, because the world has become a global village, right? The world has become a global village, and what is happening in Canada, what is happening in Germany, within 2 minutes or in a day, it can be here. People are flying within hours and they are crossing countries. So what is happening in Cote d'Ivoire, what is happening in Burkina Faso, don't be thinking that it's very far away. It's just a matter of an hour and it can happen here.
Because
right?
that brings to mind, about 2 years ago, we're thinking issues of kidnappings were far off, and so but it means that we're not as safe as we are. Our borders are porous. Is that what you're saying? Because of the absence of the needed infrastructure, the techniques, technology.
We are talking about borders. In Africa, when we talk about borders in Africa, you know, the demarcation of Africa came about for various reasons. But you and I know that if you want to go to Togo today, let them close all the borders, but you can still go to Togo. In the same way, if somebody is in Togo and he wants to come to Ghana, he doesn't need to use the approved route.
And that makes our security apparatus, including the police, helpless?
We are not helpless. We should acknowledge that fact. That is a reality. And somebody gets into Ghana, we should be able to understand that the person is here, he's not supposed to be here, and citizens must be conscious. Because if the person gets into Ghana through an unapproved route, he is definitely going to get into a community. Community members will know that this is a stranger who has come to a community. So if everybody is silent, the police are not magicians. We should be factual in the fact that people should be conscious of their own personal security, community should be conscious of community security, and they should be able to connect with the police and understand that national security as an apparatus works better with a very conscious citizenry.
The Minister of Information, when he was addressing the press conference yesterday, said that there was extensive collaboration, mentioned the police, the BNI, and the rest of the national security apparatus. How extensive is that collaboration in your day-to-day work, or in the day-to-day work of the police and the other security agencies?
Thank you very much. I have personally assisted Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center to develop a course we call collaborative policing. And collaborative policing is all about collaborating with other internal security agencies to deal with national security issues. So when the minister talked about high level of collaboration that brought the success of this operation, I wasn't surprised. After all, that is the role of the national security. National security for me is not supposed to be an agency. It's supposed to be a collaborative body, right? Pulling all the pieces together and making sure that we provide what is required by the nation to remain peaceful. So if he said that, I'm sure that maybe we've gotten to another level that is higher than we know, and the results are showing that collaboration and coordination is the way to go. And for me, I'm excited.
If we want to put in place the latest artificial intelligence or technology to ensure that our security is robust within the porousness that we have at our borders and how feeble or brittle our security is, where should we start from? Because now it's almost absent. In the United States, there were body cams, the communication that is networked between what they get from the body cam and where it is transmitted by way of the data, etc., and what it is used for, is seamless.
The United States, as we mentioned, didn't just get there just within a day. In Ghana, what is happening now, if you go to the police headquarters, we have the Police Emergency Command Center, right? We are beginning from somewhere. And the response time of the Ghana Police Service have gotten better over the past 2 years.
It needs to get better, don't you think?
And we should do better than this. What are we doing? The Inspector General of Police, when he took office, he said he wanted to transform the Ghana Police Service. And in the agenda, what he intended to do was to bring artificial intelligence, in fact, bring technology to bear on policing. So we created the Emergency Command Center. That people can sit in the Emergency Command Center, receive calls, direct calls to patrol teams, and within minutes, they will be able to respond to distress calls. And for me, it's a good beginning. We just need to invest in the police. We just need to be sure that what the police require to be more modern and more active is given them.
What should be modern and active by way of technology? What do they need better than what's being given them?
Listen, we have a police population ratio about 1:800.
You mean
in Ghana,
each policeman or woman?
Yes, it's supposed
the ratio with the population.
Exactly.
Is now.
It's over 800. Let's take it up.
That's beyond the UN standard of 1:500.
The minimum standard globally is 1:500. We have 1:840 or so, right? That one alone is a challenge. But that notwithstanding, if we are able to apply artificial intelligence, I'm sure that we could bridge the gap, irrespective of the numbers. Because the policeman will not be everywhere all the time. And apart from artificial intelligence, we should be able to bring public awareness to a level that every individual, every Ghanaian, every citizen is conscious of the environment in which he or she lives. I was in Israel, and in Jerusalem, the national security minister told me, look, Jerusalem is the safest city in the world. And I was like, why? Jerusalem is the safest city in the world? What are you talking? What are you saying? He said, yes. Do you know why I'm saying that? I said, no. Just drop a bag outside. Abandon your bag outside for 5 minutes, and you will find the police there. Why would the police be there? A citizen realizes that this is something strange, and they call the police, and the police will be there. Everybody is conscious of the environment in which they live, and that is the best way to provide security.
How do we do that? We don't have a population that is well educated. We also don't have the consciousness available within the population.
We need education, then. We need aggressive public awareness. And we need some examples in the world to show to people that, listen, this I don't care, carefree type of life will not help us. You drop a bag in a church, you drop a bag at a shopping mall, and for 2 hours nobody says anything, nobody cares, and nobody knows what it contains. Probably we are getting more security conscious with some of these happenings. They are negative, of course, but they are bringing us to life that we need to set up.
Now, if we look at what happens elsewhere, if a foreigner, and I've been a foreigner in some countries in Africa, as well as elsewhere in the world, I go to a shopping mall after making entry into that country, immediately they look on the screen, and I'm sure my biodata or something is up there. We don't have that in Ghana. And you're talking lavishly. Big talk.
It's not big talk.
Good vocabulary.
Listen, National Identification Authority is doing something, and all of us should support it. We need a national database.
That's the framework we need?
Yes.
For a start?
For a start, we need a national database that everybody in this country, wherever you get through and get into this country, within a minute, your database should be there. The police should be able to run through that database and get to know who you are. So if we don't have a database, it doesn't matter. We are not magicians, right? I speak nationalistic because I believe that the safety and security of this country is fundamental for our development.
Well, we have on the line Dr. Vladimir Ntredanso is with the Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College, and he's also an international diplomacy expert, also a lecturer, of course, and he's a regular contributor to our show as well. Good morning to you, Prof.
Good morning, my brother.
And with all the interactions you've had with us over the last week or the last couple of days, at least the resolution of this impasse of the kidnappings involving these two Canadians is good news.
Yes, I think it's very good news. I think I have been strongly vindicated also that I said we must have the patience and that our security agencies will be doing their work and we don't have to stampede them. They must have the patience and work meticulously towards the resolution of the problem. And I'm one of the happiest to see a good end to one of the issues that they are trying to unravel.
Now, for somebody like you who teaches what is around the geopolitical world, what happens in the area of security and how nations and the security apparatus they have tends to have a grip on crime or the things that are happening around them, do you think, especially having the entry or influx of foreigners, because of course we have to obey the ECOWAS protocols and the free movement that we keep having across our country, what do you think that we need to be doing first to make sure we track who enters, who doesn't enter, and even our citizens, what do we do?
The most important thing is for us to understand the phenomenon of globalization and development. Whether we like it or not, whether there is a protocol or not, there would be the influx and efflux of human beings and business. And higher development also goes with these kinds of crime and transnational organized crime is everywhere in the world. And to mitigate its effect or stem it from its side, you need to do a number of things. First and foremost, you actually need to know who is affected. Then your gatekeepers, who is affected would mean that you need identification, serious identification, that you know everybody. Then there must be one stop shop of identification. I think in Ghana, churches have their own identification. EC has its own identification. Banks have their identification, which is wrong. So the National Identification Program, which we are politicizing, is not good. It must be one of the things we are able to track everybody from birth to death and those who are entering and who are getting out. Then the next thing you have to do is to create the awareness about globalization generally, of what comes with it. Thirdly, you need to, beyond the awareness, because, the agencies that will work towards these things must have some kind of link with the people. Without the people, these agencies will not work. Intelligence agencies and security agencies. So thirdly, then you have to have a very effective security apparatus, security agency, working together and sharing information. If you don't have a well-resourced, well-established, well-trained kind of security apparatus, these people will always outwit you because they are transnational. They are using the same globalization gadgets, and they are always one step ahead. So you need to train people. Today, cybercrime is one of the, or cyber-based crimes are the things that we're looking at. Somebody can sit by his computer and call Bank of Ghana, for example, not to work, or even disturb their finances. Or if we are more sophisticated, we have rail lines and the underground rail, whatever it is, like people try to watch or to stop the Boston Railway line from working, or Akosomo, for example, can be broken. So all these things are crimes that are of modern day coming. So we need an apparatus that is capable of dealing with such issues. And these are the basic three things that we have to do. If we don't, we'll be overtaken by such events all the time.
Now, I don't know, the phenomenon of kidnappings, and we know what has transpired over the years. If it is an issue that may have been happening because of themes like the differences between the Middle East and the Western nations vis-a-vis America, that could lead to some of those phenomenon. And you come to Africa, the emergence of all that in the Maghreb, and subsequently the Terrorism Act, and why they use some of these as derivatives as part of the whole process of getting all that going. Could it be that that could be a subject of a trait people are just seeing and so want to take advantage of it within our population and think that they can copy it elsewhere because it happens and people are successful, and could be using it for different reasons other than what the intentions are out there?
Well, one way or the other, yes, I agree with you. The point is that the global system is being overtaken by the negative aspect of globalization. You know, people want to cash in on everything that is happening in the world. The signs that we have, you know, globalization is triggered by the advancement in science and technology. So every aspect of science that we can use in order to, you know, get ourselves some wealth or whatever is being done. Meanwhile, the negative aspect of science is also being used. If you want to talk about these kidnappings, people have benefited from kidnapping. In the Peppers, in Mexico, in Venezuela, in several other places, kidnapping are the means to force government to do A, B, or C, or to make government unpopular. In other places, kidnappings have been used to actually make money. In Nigeria, some billionaires have been arrested that they plied this trade for over the years. They have a gang that do the kidnapping and they kidnap for ransom. And all of these things are going on. Maybe if they are being changed from Nigeria, some of them will come to Ghana, get some allies, and be able to try and fly their trade. So it is something which is ongoing. It's going on all the time. Trafficking in humans. You need to kidnap. You need to appeal. You need to buy. So as part of the kidnapping, as part of the trade, you need to kidnap. So most of these things have reasons why they are festering. And in our part of the world, that is Ghana per se, we didn't used to have the rapidity of such things. But once they are coming, we need to know that we are part of that world where these things are becoming the order of the day.
The discussion out there on social media, and I'm sure you've monitored it as well, the fact that, well, without the assistance of some of the best developed apparatus in security, perhaps we can be on top of all these issues.
Well, I don't subscribe to that because the word is said that when you need assistance, you got to ask for it. What do you mean by talk? Ghanaians have also been asked, whether it be teachers or technicians or whatever. Liberia has asked us to help them in their energy sector. Gambia asked us some time back to give them teachers. Uganda asked us to give them teachers. That is the new world. And anytime something happens, even when we had the collapse of buildings in Ghana, the Israelis offered to come and help, and they did.
Yeah, because we were overwhelmed. I mean, that's the whole point.
Yeah, yes, it can't be overwhelmed. Ghana has the expertise in energy and something. We went to Liberia. So when you are being overwhelmed is no crime, and no, you don't have to be ashamed that you don't have something and you ask somebody to help. They can also ask us for our expertise. I know Ghanaian specialists who have gone out there, and we are all specialists. I was teaching in Senegal from 2003 to 2013 when the program ended. Am I the only person in the whole of Africa, or Senegalese don't have experts? But they felt that on the African continent, I'm one of the experts, and they have asked me to come. I teach in Kigali. I teach in several. I'm invited to Canada. I mean, so the world is now a small place. But if you are on top of your game, it doesn't mean you are the only thing. You need maybe some small gadgets. You need maybe some analysis. We take samples from brand here, we send them outside for some analysis. So let us not believe that, oh, our security agencies are useless, hopeless. No. They did their best, and I don't know, but if they needed a small assistance, they'll have. Now, the Canadians coming in, for example, it is their compatriots, and they would want to come discuss with the Ghanaian authorities in security what is happening, for them to know. And then they will also give some advice. So I don't see why we are worried about the very fact that some foreigners have come in. They will have to come in, whether we ask them or not. And in this case, they will have to come in because their nationals are here. So they come in to assist, and it's a collaborative thing.
Yes.
And I think we are told that our men had all the leads. If the excess from somewhere comes and you have nothing on the ground, they will also have nothing to do.
Okay.
Let us assume that our police didn't have anything.
All right, sir.
And our security agency, the
All right.
DNI, the military intelligence, they didn't have anything. The ID didn't have anything. What expertise would have brought the girls out? So let us drop our hearts for the work that has been done, whether they sought assistance or not. It's not the most important. The most important thing is that they were able to use their intelligence, gather information, follow the lead, and have gotten the girls. In an operation that should be applauded.
Intelligence.
Well, thank you very much. Dr. Vladimir Chidanso is with the Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College and has a lot of work in security, international diplomacy. He's a regular on the show, speaking to us on the subject. We still have in the studio Superintendent of Police, who just retired from the Ghana Police Service, Peter Lanchene Toobu. And continuing from where Dr. Vladimir Chidanso had off, it looks like security is a shared responsibility,
sure.
But it looks also like information, data is critical in getting a good output.
He hit it right on the head. The fact is that without a national database, it doesn't matter what we do. The police will have limitations. These days we are talking about intelligence-led policing. The action that you see that brought about the release of the Canadian girls, it was just intelligence-led. And when the Honorable Minister said the Canadians came in and they didn't have anything to do to support us because we're already right on the ground, it could be true, because if the intelligence was right and they knew where the girls were located and they had strategized on how to rescue the girls, what else can somebody else do? But the fact remains that we need a strong national database on many things that we are doing in this country, and we need a very conscious population, and we need a vibrant police service. And together, this country will be a very peaceful place.
I've loved the conversation. But just beside you is a picture. Just watch it. Yeah, okay, it's even on your screen. Yeah. Is that how you security people do your work? You finish, you pose like models? What's it supposed to show?
Well, from my background as a police officer, I'm wondering if this picture is not Photoshop. But I have not been on the ground where the operations was conducted. If this is the picture after the operations, I will be very sad. Because, no, it's just unbelievable. Posing for picture after such a high-profile operation? What will that mean?
It is the picture after the operation.
What do they intend to achieve? Parading the suspects and putting them on I mean, I can't get it. But let's believe that this is Photoshop. For me, let's believe that this is Photoshop. If it is real, they may have to explain to us what is the essence. Posting for a picture after such a high-level operation? We'll leave it there.
But consciously, what do we need to do as we wrap up as citizens, ordinarily, based on what your experiences are, and going forward, what we as community citizens need to be doing and looking out for?
There is one thing that I recommend for Ghana. We should take community policing serious. Community policing is the way to go. In other words, community-based policing, community-based security is the way to go. All of us should be conscious of our environment, and we should always at least have some trust for the police. The police is commanded by a chain of command, right? If you think that you don't trust the inspector, look for the supervisor to the inspector. If you think that you don't trust the district commander, go and look for the regional commander. Somebody should listen to you. And sometimes we don't even know how to parcel or package the information. People report cases to you and you wonder, what is the essence of this? There's no substance in it, because we've not been cultured enough to understand that these are the key things I need to tell the police to be able to help them. And by that, you weaken the police. So with all the intelligence, with all the technology, we need a very conscious population. And for me, if there is anything we can do to raise the consciousness of the Ghanaian, of his own security environment, I will be excited.
Well, thank you for those tips out there, but also make sure that you're on the lookout. And which better platform than this? JoyNews. We're always giving you up-to-date information and education on what you need to know, especially in these times of all of us getting conscious with our security, whether it is at home, in the office, in a community, whether in the church or you're at the shopping mall going to buy something vital. Please always look out for the nuances, as a boss of mine would say. Yeah, you wanted to add?
Yes, I just want to salute some few people. Retired Inspector General of Police Peter Namfuri, who gave me personal tutelage on what to do as a police officer. Mr. P.K. Achampong, right? I worked under him as Director General CID. Mr. Paul Tawiakwe, the one I served first as Executive Secretary, a very wonderful man, consensus builder. Mr. Al Hassan, right? A robust man, tax-oriented IGP. And my current boss, who is a people-centered man. I salute all of them. And I'm sure that police are excited, that things are getting better, right? The challenges are there, but we need to ensure that we bring professionalism to bear and keep our image rising and rising. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for joining us this morning. And I'm sure we'll be hearing more from Superintendent of Police retired Peter Lanchane Toobu. Before his retirement, he was the Executive Secretary to the Inspector General of Police of the Ghana Police Service. Big man. But please make sure that you're conscious of your security. But whatever it is that you tend to find out in your day-to-day movement, you can always tag us on Facebook. JoyNews on TV. Go look for it. We also have a Twitter handle. So when you get on to Twitter, look out for @JoyNews on TV. I have a personal handle @Walker Ghana on Twitter. You can give us private messages and we'll follow up on all those leads for you as you watch JoyNews.